If you want to make better tracks and actually finish more of them, you don't actually need more plugins. And in this video, I'll explain how buying more plugins can actually make it more difficult to achieve your goals as a producer. And as we're getting into this, if you end up liking this video and want to see more like this, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribing if you haven't already. It's important here to address the idea that having more tools in your toolbox, or plugins in your DAW, will make it easier to finish songs, but it's actually the opposite. Yes, I have different sized pliers and screwdrivers, but I also have sanders and saws and other things that just do a very specific job. But with plugins, people will buy multiple EQs, reverbs, and so on to do the exact same task. So what this turns into is, rather than opening up your DAW and grabbing your compressor, you instead browse through the plugin list to try to decide which one is going to be best for that track. And you might even decide to A/B some other plugins as well, just repeating this process over and over. And realistically, no, it doesn't take that long to pick a plugin, but the more plugins you have, the more time it can add to this process. And more decisions can lead to analysis paralysis and you being burned out on the project even sooner. In my experience, momentum is key, so you want to hold on to it and make use of it for as long as possible. And truthfully, the more plugins you have, the harder it is to master any of them. And it's not just about knowing what knob does what, it's about the muscle memory of knowing where each knob is without even thinking about it, or knowing exactly how this move should affect my track, or a quicker starting place based on what you know about a track. The more you become proficient with a specific plugin, the faster, more confident, and more committed you are to your decisions when producing. And I'm certainly not trying to say that all plugins are made equal, because that's obviously not true. Different plugins have unique characteristics, but I would challenge you to spend more time with a smaller number of plugins in hopes that you can get to know those better and save time in the long run. But what about plugins that genuinely do something unique? Isotope intelligent plugins, a really cool sounding virtual instrument, or even an emulation of an analog compressor. Listen, I'm not gonna act like I don't enjoy stuff like that, because I use that stuff all the time. But here's the deal. A lot of these specialized plugins are made to take the place of a skill you can develop. Maybe that's as simple as getting better at mixing or learning how to dial in your reverb, but it could also be holding you back from developing your sound design skills. Many DAWs nowadays come with all the plugins you'll ever need to achieve your desired sound. And you might be thinking, what about that really cool Safari Pedals plugin that has the cool reverb and distortion in it? You may not be able to create that with one plugin, but you could dial in a signal chain of a few stock plugins, save it as a preset, and get the same result without paying any money. Even down to the most basic mixing skills. There was a short amount of time where I used Isotope Neutron, which is their smart mixing plugin, and it was super helpful, but I realized I wasn't growing in my ability to actually EQ, compress, and so on. Because of this, every time I opened up a different mixing plugin for a different characteristic, I felt just as lost as before. Again, the point isn't that these plugins are bad, it's just that these are often the types of plugins we buy over and over again. So just remember that your skill will get you way further than any tool you have when it comes to making music. I also find that having too many plugins can make it harder to establish a consistent sound, either as a producer or even within the same track. Now, I love trying out new gear and new plugins, but if I'm being real with you, I use a very small percentage of them. And yes, it's partly because of the workflow stuff I mentioned before, but I've also realized it's easier to create a consistent sonic identity if I spend more time using fewer plugins. I used to use different EQs on individual tracks or different reverbs for various instruments, but it took me a long time to realize that a big reason why my tracks didn't feel like they were in the same room, for example, was that I had my drums going to one reverb, my keys going through another, like completely different reverbs. And I had all these fancy hardware emulations across my Logic session, and it not only slowed down my workflow, but it also made it more difficult to get everything to feel cohesive. Also, a lot of my songs felt like they were produced by completely different people because I was pretty much starting from the ground up each project. And in case you didn't know, I've had the pleasure of working with people all around the world as a session musician. And one of my favorite things is keeping track of how many places around the world I've been able to have my hand in musically. And a lot of indie R&B producers can't afford a session drummer, and programmed drums are often too robotic for the genre. So I decided to track 50 Soulful tape-saturated loops and fills that producers can just drag straight into their DAW. And as my gift to you, if you click the link in the description, you can grab a few of those loops completely free of charge, and they sound great right away, so that'll be even less decisions you'll have to make. I'd love to hear what you come up with. But going back to plugins, one thing that a lot of producers get wrong is that constraints actually improve creativity rather than the other way around. In last week's video, I used some cheap guitar pedals to process the analog synth I was using on the way in. And aside from that, I think I used about 5 or 6 different plugins on the whole rest of the session. A pitch correction, stereo delay, UAD pure plate, console 1, R-Bass, and isotope ozone. And not only did I finish this track a lot faster than normal, but I enjoyed the process a lot more as well. Most of the work after tracking and arranging was just mixing it via the console 1 channel strip, and none of that time was spent trying different plugins. Ultimately, this is just how our brains are wired. Constraint gives you fewer options, meaning fewer decisions, less decision fatigue. It leaves you with more energy to spend on musical choices, but it also adds constraint to your musical choices at the same time. So maybe you pick a channel strip plugin or just string up your own plugin chain to hold yourself to for a set amount of time. Or maybe you see what kind of music you can make using only the external instruments you have lying around. Because the heart behind this video isn't to get people to stop buying plugins. It's to share some perspective that will enable you to create more tracks without letting mind games get in the way. But I find that none of this really matters if you're not sharing your music with other people. So watch this video next where I'll share the mindset that keeps successful producers moving forward, even when you feel like nobody is listening. And as always, thanks for hanging out.